Imagine it's 1981. You're walking through the streets on a breezy fall night in Boston, and it's almost Halloween. The leaves are red, orange, and yellow, and it smells like campfires and hints of those amazing cinnamon pine cones. Or that might be more Christmas, but I just felt like this fit the vibe. In the breeze, you hear whispers, words floating through the wind. As you look around nervously, you turn towards the woods across the street and see your worst nightmare. A creepy clown, dressed in his two big shoes, his white painted face, and his red polka dotted costume. He moves closer, hoping to lure you in, and that's when you see it. The clown has a machete, and he wants more than just your company. Join us today as we discuss all things killer clowns. Welcome back to
Unknown,
Unsolved,
Unseen,
Triple U.
Woohoo! I'm your devilishly spooky host, Frank.
I don't have an adjective for myself, but I'm Sage.
Could use something along the spooky vibes. Are you creepy? I don't know if you actually want to.
I don't know that I want to label myself as creepy.
Terrifying, frightness.
I don't know that those are vibes that I want to be associated with.
I already took spooky.
I'm the super bright pink Halloween spooky vibes. That's like the new thing, but
weird. All right, this is episode 56. We're making it up there. 13 episodes. I have a special one planned. I actually have a certain thing that has to be for that episode.
Okay, well, all of us, I feel like I can safely stay. Greatly look forward to, hearing what episode 69 is for.
Nice.
So, oh my lord.
All right. So, announcements for today. The main things I have is events going on. Go check our Instagram. We're going to be posting that less and less as there's not as many events going on right now. So, can't really post as much anymore, but the main one coming up is a Carbondalian Festival in Carbondale, PA, which if you listened to last week's episode, which a good amount of people did, that is happening on November 7th and 8th. We highly recommend going. I know we're going to be there, and we hope to see some of you guys there too. And, it's a really great event, really wonderful atmosphere. We've been there before. It was great. Speaking of events, we just went to Albert, which yesterday was actually better than we expected. Got quite a bit of merch.
We did.
And we also checked out Oddities Festival and a pizza shop.
We did get merch at the pizza shop, and the merch was probably pizza sauce on one of us.
Probably. That's one way of putting it. And then the other thing I have is I want to do a quick little ad for one of our other friend podcasts. So here is a little excerpt here for you gang to hear. If you don't want to hear, skip forward like a minute. If not, check these people out.
Some people start their week with coffee. Ale starts hers with ghosts, mysteries, and things that go bump in the night. Welcome to Macabre Mondays, the podcast where mysteries meet the macabre. Join Alejandra, a lifelong storyteller with a passion for the strange and spooky, as she shares chilling tales with her husband Tom, who's hearing them for the very first time. It's part marriage, part mayhem, and all mystery. Your weekly escape into haunted history, unsolved oddities, and the darker corners of life. New episodes drop every Monday, so ditch the morning blues and press play on something a little more macabre. Listen to Macabre Mondays wherever you get your podcast.
So, go check out Macabre Mondays. And the only other announcements I have are nothing.
It's officially spooky month. Last week's episode was also spooky month, but I feel like with an interview it's a little different. Now we're in like actual spooky month.
Yeah, so we're taking a little break from the multi-parter on the Zodiac Killer. We'll be back on that in November. But right now, we're going to be talking about some spooky stuff. I don't have one spooky season episode, but Sage got 2 for us.
Yep, I do.
She got the 2 for
That's a lot of like shoes to fill.
BOGO for Sages.
Yeah, I guess.
I won't get one. Me,
but,
just one.
Yeah, this is a little different, I guess, than, a typical episode. This is more kind of a discussion of a phenomena, kind of, in a sense. But I feel like, it's pretty prominent in our culture.
It's one that go back, what was it, 7 years ago? It was a big thing around the country for a little bit.
It was 2016. It was almost 10 years ago. It was 9 years ago. It was election year, which comes into play.
Why did I think...
It pops up every once in a while.
Why did I do the wrong math? For some reason, I knew it was 2016, and then for some reason I did 2017 in my head, which I still would have been wrong with that math. I thought 2018 plus 8 is 2026 minus 1 makes that 7 years. Man, I'm dumb sometimes.
I don't know what kind of math you were just doing, but all right.
It's it's similar to girl math, but it's guy math.
So it's wrong?
So it's wrong.
Well, you were wrong. What do you want me to tell you?
True, you're wrong. Me. That's all I hear.
Yeah.
So what are you telling us about today?
So, as the title suggests, in my beautifully written artistry done introduction.
Artistry done.
You know what I mean?
Artistic.
Sure. We're going to be talking about...
You know how you can be artistic? Have your mom take Tylenol when you're pregnant. I hear that's how you get artistic.
Pretty sure that's autistic. What would be the equivalent? I don't know. We'd have to come up with something. Have your mom take Pepto-Bismol. I don't know.
What the hell?
But we're going to be talking about killer clowns, the clown craze. Why are people afraid of clowns? All of the above. So, trigger warnings. Straight up clowns, man. Like, they're freaking creepy.
Honk, honk. Clowns.
Yeah, they're creepy. So, like, if you're not a fan of clowns, hearing about them, anything like that, we'll see you for Frank's spooky episode next week.
Now, these killer clowns, are they from outer space?
No, but I do mention that a little bit later.
I have the theme song now stuck in my head, like I
hate that movie.
It's such a cult classic. I love the practical effects creepiness of it.
Yeah, no, thank you. But I do mention that a little bit in here. There's also brief mentions of murder, sexual assault, kidnappings of children, potential kidnappings of children. All of the things that come. Think 2016 Clown Craze, where like they're just creepy. So I would consider this falling under Unknown, Unsolved, Unseen, because a lot of these sightings, they don't know why they happened, but also a lot of the sightings were only seen by children.
I mean, I was actually very, very, I considered a while ago doing this eventually as a topic, and I never actually thought you would come across this, so I had it reserved. Like, I didn't have it on my list on our Google Doc. But I'm like, I don't think I need to put it. Sage had never learned about the 1981 Phantom Clown phenomenon, because that one is not reported on much.
No, it was really hard to find information on any of the stuff.
Yeah, so because it typically leads you to the 2016 wave of clown sightings. Yeah. The 1981 one is not as heavily talked about. Now, do you talk about Sandown, the clown, or no?
Which one?
Sandown. Or the Sandown Clown, I think that's what's called.
No, there's a couple other clowns that I mentioned.
Okay, because the Sandown Clown is an alien, possibly multi-dimensional creature called a clown. That's a whole different thing, so I didn't know if he covered that. That's a whole topic in itself.
Well, then you can cover that at another time, because it's not in my document here.
Clowns.
I actually really enjoyed researching this because the first part, it was really interesting to me. It could be super boring to the rest of you. Super sorry. This is, our podcast. I did with the psychology basically behind why people are afraid of clowns, because it's cross cultures, cross ages. There is no discrimination against people who aren't afraid of clowns. It's anybody.
Do we discriminate against them though?
Well, you know what I mean. Like, there's no.
I'm just making a joke.
It's all inclusive of every culture, every like anything. You can be afraid of clowns at any point in time. And there's a few reasons behind that, which I thought was really interesting.
All right. So, are you going to get into it now?
Yep.
Or you want to do psychology first or like the actual stuff first?
I'm going to do psych first.
Okay.
Because I think that helps explain some of the sightings.
So for the losers out there that don't care about the psych, I'd say skip ahead 10 minutes or something.
10, 15.
10, 15.
Keep skipping until you hear us not talking about psych, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But for the cool people that actually want to understand this, because I believe, sorry, a little spoiler here, I believe you're going to be talking about a very popular topic, the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting topic. And I'll add my thoughts on it as we get there.
Well, I think too, like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but my job revolves around the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of like mental health disorders for like differential diagnosis and stuff like that. So like researching this, like I had a lot of information that is real about it because I'm very familiar with that book. I mean, I diagnose people all the time.
Rich McGee over here. Fuck you.
I love that. I freaking love that meme. But all right, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of killer clowns and their sightings, I do think it's important to talk about the phobia of clowns. It's not actually recognized by the DSM in any of its editions. Always a potential for that to be added later, but it usually falls under one subset. So it's not a definitive diagnosis that you are afraid of clowns. It's usually a specific phobia.
What is the phobia called?
So it's called coulrophobia. Coulro phobia. And it's a very real experience for much of the population. So there's a lot of things that are not in the DSM. If anyone is familiar with the DSM, there's also, I think it's the ICD, something like that, that's used by doctors that has different diagnostical criteria and has different disorders and stuff too. So there's always the potential that you can diagnose it from somewhere else, but it's a real thing to experience. The term coulrophobia first appeared in the late 1990s, which, we'll talk about as we get through the sightings, but coulro, so Coulro, is the Greek word for stilt walkers. So back in the day, like, ancient times, because clowns go back as far as jesters, entertainers, things like that, fools. Those kind of all fall under the category of clown. A lot of them walked on stilts as part of their act. So coulro is stilt walkers. So it's the fear of stilt walkers.
When I asked the question what the name of it is, I didn't think you actually had all that prepared.
Of course I do. This is my realm of expertise. I'm not saying I'm an expert in this because I'm definitely not, but I did some research. So, and if I'm wrong about something, let me know. So individuals with coulrophobia can experience a multitude of symptoms, from hyperventilation and fast heart rates, pale skin, profuse sweating, nausea, trembling and shaking, as well as an intense burst of irrational terror and fear. These symptoms line up with what we would expect to see from people who have specific phobias, which is outlined in the DSM. Studies show that the fear of clowns is prevalent among both adults and children, and therefore it isn't limited to the childhood fear of the unknown or creepy things, and it's also present among many different cultures. So it's kind of this idea similar to when we think of like dragons, where like dragons are in the history of many cultures, but those cultures didn't have contact with one another. So how did we all create the idea of dragons? They were probably real or something along those lines was real, dinosaur bones, things like that. You know all about that, Jazz.
Yeah, and I was going to say one thing that a hole in it that you can poke is if you look at actually a lot of dragon beliefs, dragons are interpreted very different across cultures. Mm-hmm. I mean, some have wings, some just straight up don't have wings. Some of them are feathered. I mean, that's a... Well,
clowns are different across all cultures.
Yeah.
But it's still a clown. It's still a fear of a clown. So the only difference that I could really find, based on like who's usually more diagnosed with this, and it's honestly inferred. It's not, there's like no official research that actually has gone and proven this, but it says that females might be at a higher risk of developing coulrophobia, which is actually really common among other phobias, including things like being afraid of getting injections, spiders, heights, claustrophobia, things like that.
I know clown phobia is fairly high up there, but
coulrophobia. Coulrophobia. It's
Couro.
Coul.
Okay, sorry. Can I just say fear of clowns, or do you want me to say it?
Well, you said clownophobia. And I was
Okay.
like, that's not right.
I like the sound of clownophobia, but
It does sound good. It does sound...
Fear of clowns, or well, a phobia of clowns is the right way to say it.
Yeah.
A phobia of clowns, I've seen it a few times growing up, typically actually with guys more often than women. But like, it is a more common phobia to have.
It is a more common phobia to have. It sits pretty close to things like arachnophobia and claustrophobia, just in prevalence because...
Yeah, I can think of somebody with claustrophobia.
Yeah.
I'm looking across at them right now. I can name one person with arachnophobia.
Yeah, I do know someone with arachnophobia. I know a bunch of people.
Yeah. I mean, we both know one person who has it pretty
I have a client who has very severe arachnophobia, and we have to do exposure therapy about it, which, like, for me is also exposure therapy because gross. Ain't no bringing any spiders in.
And then I knew somebody when I was growing up who had a very severe phobia of clowns.
Yeah.
Like, you could easily scare him with talking about clowns.
I mean, I'm afraid of stink bugs. I don't know what specific phobia that is, but I have the same reaction as people who have a specific phobia. Additionally, if you already have an anxiety disorder or another phobia, you're more likely to develop this particular specific phobia disorder because it's easier to develop an intense fear, the coulrophobia, due to the genetic predisposition to anxiety or phobias. Because clowns are prevalent in, like, our culture. Everywhere. I mean, every Halloween we see them.
Yeah, especially with, like, the resurgence of the cult classic Killer Clowns. I mean, I'm not trying to just bring it up every time, but, like, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it was made in, I think, the 80s. It didn't do well.
Didn't they just release a game for it?
Yeah, but it didn't, like, do well, and then over decades later, it all of a sudden became a cult classic, and now Universal Studios has Killer Clowns from Outer Space featured at their stuff. Spirit Halloween always has, like, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Well, we have a doormat.
Yep, we have.
I have yet to put it out, and it's been like 4 years.
But, like, it became a big thing basically out of nowhere. So, you know, it's like making that resurgence, and then, you know, remaking the It movies.
Yeah,
1 and 2,
I go into detail about that.
And they made a TV show now. I mean, the resurgence, those two groups alone have really helped with the resurgence on, you know, clowns, and especially in a more, I'd say maybe negative connotation, like more like fearful connotation. Yeah. Because these are obviously not...
I go into all that later, which we can discuss more then, for sure.
So I'll let you get into that then later.
But if a close...
I'm on top of it.
You are on top of it. I'm excited. If a close family member has a phobia, you're more susceptible to having the same or similar phobia due to genetics, or by learning the phobia through that family member's behaviors. So if you have a parent, sibling, anybody in your family who has a phobia of clowns, you are more likely to develop that simply based on, like, modeling, but also genetically predisposed. Additionally, due to clowns' looks, which we know they have an interesting look, the lack of emotional clarity and inability to read their genuine facial expressions can lead to an instinctive feeling of unease and the perception of threat. And that is the nature of clowns and why they trigger a fear response, which I do actually break down here too a little bit more. This is so fascinating to me, and again, skip ahead if it's not interesting to you. Frank can't skip ahead though.
It's fascinating to me, but also I really want to get into the Phantom Clowns, specifically 1981.
I know, I'm sorry.
I'm split here on what I want.
Yeah. So theories of the etiology of clown, like fear of clowns, can be broadly split into what researchers consider 3 general categories. Those relating to their physical appearance, those relating to their behavior, and those that are derived from learning or experience. So the first category on physical appearance suggests that coulrophobia may stem from what's called the uncanny valley effect. This describes the feelings of eeriness and repulsion that are triggered by near human-looking objects. So this theory was originally postulated by a researcher named Mori, who speculated about the uneasy feeling which might be elicited when someone touches a cold and limp prosthetic hand. It looks real, but it does not possess all the qualities expected for a real human hand, such as warmth and visible bone structure.
And I gotta say, the uncanny valley type of fears have been coming out a lot more in horror lately. Like, you talk about things like the Rake, Crawlers, Slender Man.
Oh, Slender Man's like a huge...
That's uncanny valley there. I mean, the idea of mimics and doppelgangers, they look 100% human, but they aren't.
Flesh pedestrians.
Yep, which those are the SWs or skin Ws, who, I don't know what SH doesn't want me saying it. I mean, I will say it, but I'm going to respect her on her episode.
Thank you.
But,
I believe that saying it brings them into your life, and I'm not interested in that.
And, there's this really great video. Like, I think it's a good video. It has a lot of views on YouTube, and I need to listen to it. Because I think it talks about the idea of the origin of the uncanny valley being an evolutionary thing.
I actually talk about that
with Neanderthals.
Oh, I don't talk about it with Neanderthals, but I talk about why we would have something like that.
But I don't know if it's Neanderthals or not, but there's a video on YouTube about it, about like our ancestors and how it formed with things we met during our evolution.
Yeah.
And I want to actually watch it. Like, when you told me that, it made me think of that video, and that's why I'm like, when you mentioned Uncanny Valley, I'm like, oh my God, I've been seeing it so much lately.
Yeah.
And I just want to actually watch it now.
I think I put that in, we can watch it, but I think I put that in the third category, which is like learned or from experience about like, ancestral trauma and stuff.
That's it. Uncanny Valley. The Uncanny Valley theory of human evolution. And it has such a creepy thumbnail to it too.
Is the video itself creepy?
I have no idea. It's 13 minutes, 18 seconds, so I might watch it first to let you know.
Okay. So the key element to all of this is the near human aspect that causes the uneasiness. Researchers suggest that this may actually be instinctual and ancestral in the sense that it may protect us from sources of danger, such as corpses or unfamiliar animal species. This is actually amplified if the item has movement, such as clowns, but also with other human-like artifacts such as dolls, masks, puppets, virtual reality avatars, or computer-generated characters in movies. It's possible that there may be I do go into more detail then, but it's possible that there may be a cognitive explanation for this phenomenon. Whatever the object is, causes something that we call sensory conflict, or when the brain is unable to determine the reason for the emotional discomfort because the item doesn't fit neatly into like either of two item categories. So an example of this would be the prosthetic hand, as it's neither fully mechanical, but it's also not fully human. So the brain can't understand its discomfort there. When it comes to clowns specifically, the distortion of their facial features through makeup gives them a near human quality, which may elicit the uncanny valley effect because they have human-like features, but also they usually have distorted smiles. We always think of like the red honking nose, huge foreheads, which is it, the huge wrinkled foreheads? It's also been suggested that the fear may stem from difficulty in processing someone's facial expressions and the inability to perceive the true emotions of the clown because of the makeup on their face. This creates uncertainty as to the character's intentions, and the clown's painted smile may be concealing anger, aggression, and therefore it could be a potential threat to our safety.
Sinister intentions.
Yeah. So both of these ideas, being a distorted version of a human figure or having concealed facial emotions, lead to people perceiving clowns as creepy, which, if you ask me, is exactly right. I have like a very mild fear of clowns. I'm not a big fan of them, but I definitely wouldn't say I have the phobia. Do you think you have the phobia?
Of clowns? I don't think I have a phobia of clowns. I don't have an issue with clowns. Well, you can see the ones like the phantom clowns and the killer clown phenomenon where they're like just at afar waving at you creepily. Yeah, then I'm scared of that.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
That's also part of the ambience of that situation.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the clown itself is what creeps me out there. It's more everything. The clown makes it creepier, but I'm not inherently creeped out by clowns.
Fair. So subjective creepiness has been defined as a feeling of anxiety triggered by uncertainty, as to quote, whether there is something to fear or not, and or the ambiguity of the precise nature of the threat. So is the threat sexual? Is the threat physical violence? Is the threat contamination, getting sick, things like that? Things that may indicate a need for fear can be the clown's peculiar smile, bulging eyes, very pale skin, an odd costume, facial characteristics, particularly their eyes, eyebrows, teeth, and their lips. Clown makeup accentuates these features and dramatizes them, and this may lead to a negative emotional response. When we talk about the idea of killer clowns, these facial characteristics are exaggerated further still, with these malevolent clowns bestowed with lines of sharp teeth, feral eyes, huge smiles. They're real creepy, think like Joker style. Such features may go beyond being merely unsettling or creepy and instead elicit a direct sense of threat. The final appearance-related aspect of clowns, the fear of clowns relates to disgust. This emotion has been defined as a, quote, revulsion response towards potential contamination from items or environments which are perceived to hold an infectious threat. When it comes to clowns, there are elements of clown makeup, such as the emphasis on white face paint with bright red lips and nose, which might be perceived as a contagious threat. The white paint on the skin could also act as a reminder of the pallor of the face of an unwell or deceased person. And the red could be a reminder of arrhythmia that often co-occurs with an infection. Interestingly, this may provide credence to, the argument, which I didn't really get a whole lot from. I actually came up with the ancestral part myself, that, this could be ancestral. Because how would a 21st century child know about a contagious threat, the white pallor of someone who's unwell or deceased, or even what an arrhythmia is? It could be an evolutionary defense mechanism for the survival of our own species. So, these factors can combine to give a clown an appearance of deformity, to which, sadly, but nevertheless unavoidably, humans have a natural reaction of revulsion and fear. Prior research has found that faces with mismatched or disproportionate facial features, like bulbous noses, protruding foreheads, can produce uneasy feelings or unpleasant feelings in participants of those studies. And they suggest, the researchers suggest that feelings are deeply rooted in the basic emotion of disgust because of the human mechanism of pathogen avoidance.
That's actually quite the take on that. I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's only the first category.
More than I expected to get out from this episode on learning of this type of stuff.
The other two categories are a little smaller. The second category is behavioral explanations, which focus on the unpredictability of their behavior, and a lot of these also relate to a clown's creepiness. Wider literature on specific phobias also suggests that perceived unpredictability may be a key feature in eliciting alarm. And this has been demonstrated in studies with those who have arachnophobia. Furthermore, studies with children have reported fearful responses to toys which make unpredictable noises, such as laughing at random intervals, which is hilariously horrifying if you ask me, because this is for sure creepy. And then I can't help but think of the bears, especially the guys from The Watcher do, Ryan and Shane. They use the teddy bear.
Oh yeah,
that has
the Boo Bear.
Yeah, the Boo Bear. And how it just randomly goes off sometimes because of what it's detected. Gave me that vibe. Also, can you imagine hearing a random ass toy making noise in the middle of the night? I have a sister that's way younger than me, and that happened a lot. More than you would expect. Creepy. Clown behavior might reasonably be considered unpredictable due to the nature of their performance, where there is an emphasis on sleights of hand and magic tricks. It may also be that the fear of clowns is a cross-cultural phenomenon stemming from our unease at those who subvert social norms and break behavioral taboos. And again, when this erratic behavior goes to extremes, it can be more than merely uncomfortable or unsettling, and instead be perceived as directly threatening. In contemporary Western societies, clowns are typically depicted as friendly, fun, and comedic. Think clowns at the circus or at a children's birthday party. Yet just as easily as they can entertain, they can also easily scare. More generally, the erratic behavior displayed by clowns in their what they call slapstick comedy shows, combined with their outlandish appearance, can put an audience on edge, and this makes their behaviors more shocking as they escalate. Throughout history, clowns have held a more ambiguous and multifarious role than simple entertainers, being equated with court entertainers like fools, jesters, or jokers. These roles embody the trickster archetype, a force that seeks to balance good and evil, and therefore they can either be benevolent or malign, simply at whim. Is that the right word? Malign?
Malign?
Malignant.
Okay.
Right. They can be benevolent or malignant, seemingly at whim, meaning they can fluctuate back and forth whenever they want, and that adds to existing uncertainty of their motive.
You know what that makes me think of? The clown thing where they smile, and then they have their fan, and they...
Yeah. Who's the
in
mime?
case you're wondering what I'm... It's also more of a mime thing, actually.
Well, who's the mime that wears the black and white striped suit?
All mimes?
No, it's it's from a particular horror movie. It recently became big on.
Terrifier?
Yeah.
That's a clown, though. He's black and white, he's a clown, but he acts kind of mime-ish.
Yeah, because he doesn't talk.
You know who else is a mime? Mr. Mime. And you know who else is? Bon Voyage from The Incredibles. Mr. Incredible. I forget how he says it. It's so stupid. But yeah, that whole entire thing, where a mime or a clown will have their hand and go across their face, and they go from a smile to a frown, or happy to angry. that is what I could think of when you're mentioning that. It's just like that. And then I'm like, oh.
That ability to go back and forth, for sure. The third potential explanation for fear of clowns can be extrapolated from research into the development of other specific phobias. This basically means that we look at other studies that are more widely done, because there's not a lot of studies on clowns, and we see how people respond to those phobias and how that can be applied to this one. We do this because the understanding is that fear responses are very similar when it comes to phobias, so we can, use that data. Research suggests that these fears may come from social learning theory or even having your own experiences. Specifically, Rockman's 3 pathways theory of fear acquisition suggests that the development of a specific phobia may be caused by 1, direct experience, 2, observation, so modeling, or 3, being instruction or information, so being told. Here, the fear may be result of an early frightening experience, could be handed down from one generation to the next, learned from family members, or it might stem from negative media portrayals of clowns in popular culture, such as Pennywise from Stephen King's It novel, and even John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown serial killer. I added this because I thought this was interesting. So Gacy was the poster boy for the Creepy Clown. I know I've spoke about him a little bit before. He was a serial killer who sexually assaulted and murdered at least 33 teenage boys and young men in the 70s in Cook County, Illinois. He painted pictures of clowns and appeared at community events and children's parties as Pogo the Clown. His clown suit is in the Alcatraz. Is it Alcatraz East?
Alcatraz East. We saw
Crime
it
Museum.
ourselves.
Yeah, Crime Museum down in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So super, super freaky. It was really weird to see that, but it's also kind of interesting. That's that dichotomy, right? He's dressed as a fun clown. It's the 70s, and then he goes home and he murders people.
Yeah, that definitely did not help the clown imagery out there.
Yeah. Finally, one important area that was not considered within the one study that I read, so I'm pulling this from that, from their conclusion, is the link between we call adverse ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, and coulrophobia. There's evidence to suggest that early trauma is linked to anxiety disorders in adulthood, including things like social phobia and some things that would be along the lines of clown characteristics, such as unpredictability or sense of threat. And these may be features of having an abusive childhood, because you live in a place that is unpredictable and there's always a threat. Therefore, in individuals who have suffered trauma and adversity, a clown may trigger those fears. So that's always possible for future research. Very interesting to me.
All right.
So here we go. What happened in 1981?
You're going to tell your friends at work that you did one that involves psychology in it.
Maybe.
You should. This would be an interesting one to tell people at your work.
Yeah.
I think this would be the type of thing that you could show off at work. Be like, hey, I did work stuff on the podcast.
I might. On either May 5th or 6th, I did see both, so it was a little bit confusing. But in 1981, local police in Brookline, Massachusetts, which is a suburb of Boston, received a report that, quote, 1 or 2 men wearing clown outfits were driving around a neighborhood getting out of their van to attempt to get kids to come to their van for candy. They were spotted multiple times by kids around Brookline's Lawrence School on Longwood Avenue. The vehicle was described as an older model black van that had ladders on the side, a broken front headlight, and no hubcaps. Funny this van was black, though, because usually we get reports of white vans that are attempting to lure children. So just, interesting note there.
You said this is 1981, right?
Yeah.
All right, random thing, I double-checked Sam the Sandown Clown. That's from 1973. That one was 7 foot tall and was in Sandown, Isle of Wight, United Kingdom. Yeah, that one we'll have to talk about later, so I seeing if this was by any chance same time. Also, this is Sam the Sandown Clown. I'm showing Sage a picture. Y'all can look it up yourself. Yep.
So this was not an isolated incident, but instead was just one of several creepy clown sightings across greater Boston that spring. Brookline police called the town's school department and told administrators to be extra cautious. Officials in Boston's school system were told the last week of April, because honestly, the majority of the clown sightings were not reported until after a memo went out. A lot of them were being reported individually to school and stuff like that, but there was no report to police until May 5th.
It wasn't a police matter until the possible
kidnappings.
Abduction attempts is what I was going to say.
Yeah, so the school system did release a warning at the end of April to elementary and middle school students about the clowns and to like not go near them. The memo was officially sent out May 6th to all the schools that said, "It has been brought to the attention of the police department and the district office that adults dressed as clowns have been bothering children to and from school."
Bothering children. Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah, well, they got to make sure they're not, causing panic, but...
Okay, fair enough. That's a good argument there.
Yeah. School Superintendent Robert Sperber instructed all 10 elementary schools to warn their students. Please advise. He's quoted as saying, "Please advise all students that they must stay away from strangers, especially ones dressed as clowns." And yes, they really said especially ones dressed as clowns. Boston police issued a citywide bulletin for a clown who had been seen in a black van between the hours of 4 and 6 p.m. near Franklin Park in Roxbury and the Mary F. Curley School in the Jamaica Plains of Boston. He was also reportedly naked from the waist down.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was only in half of a clown costume. So he was wanted for more than just being a creepy clown. He was wanted for an exposure.
Exposure, public indecency, that's
Yeah.
that's pretty bad if you ask me.
Yeah. Just a few days later, though, the clown scare honestly had died down in Boston. On May 9th, the Boston Globe did do a small report on a clown that was driving a pickup truck that was stopped by police in Randolph, Massachusetts, but was released when they realized he was delivering a, quote, clownogram to a department store in Canton.
A what?
A clownogram.
I understand what it is, but for the listeners, and if actually we have mostly older listeners, so they'll probably understand what type of thing this is.
When I was in school, we did harmless ones like candygrams, which is like you could anonymously or not anonymously send like little pieces of candy and stuff to somebody else. This person was ordering a clown.
It seems probably more harmless then, but oh my god.
I know.
So this dude's doing a clownogram, and there are other people dressed as clown doing sick shit, so he gets...
Yep, he did get released, so he was fine. No other clowns were arrested, though, because, no other clowns, particularly the creepy ones, could be found in the area.
I'm very curious on what other clown things were happening about this time around the country, because I know you haven't mentioned this, but... because I just know this. The reason why we know about this is because it's reported by a certain individual.
Yep, I'm about to mention him.
Our homie, the cryptozoologist.
Loren Coleman.
Who, he covers a lot more than just cryptozoology here and there, but yeah, he recorded a bunch of crazy shit from there. He's our Bridgewater Triangle guy, our Dover Demon guy.
I know, he's got everything. He is just a multitude.
When it comes to Bigfoot, he's going to be mentioned probably. I mean, he's one of the biggest names in cryptozoology. Yeah. All the times I mentioned that there's a Lost Tapes episode for something I do, he's typically interviewed on that Lost Tapes episode.
Yes, I will get to him here in a second. So, truthfully, the police said virtually all reported sightings of clowns originated with children aged 5 to 7. And police could offer no evidence of any child being harassed, molested, injured, or kidnapped in the metropolitan area by a person in the clown's getup. No civilian adults or police officers had even seen a clown in that area during the time of the sightings. Calls would come into the station stating that a creepy clown was seen at a specific intersection. There would already be police sitting there, and the officers would see nothing. When the officers would get out of their cars or other officers would arrive on scene, no one that was there would even speak to them. A May 13th article in the Boston Globe told parents how to talk with their children about stranger danger, noting that in that year, in recent years, 27 children had been murdered in Atlanta. So they brought that up where they were like, kids are being murdered elsewhere, so make sure you're talking to your kids about stranger danger.
Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Yeah.
That's just like...
I'm pretty sure.
a couple stones tossed away from Massachusetts.
Yeah,
It's just like...
top to bottom.
A couple hundred stone tosses away.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple thousand.
Yeah, maybe. The clown scare may have been a hoax, but yes, the world indeed can be dangerous for young children. So if you have young children, you have yet to talk to them about stranger danger. Do that. It's why I don't like things like Uber and Lyft and things like that, because strangers be weird. So...
yeah, fair enough.
So here's how I introduced Loren Coleman. And now for the return of one of our favorite people on this podcast, Loren Coleman. Yep, you heard that right. The famous cryptozoologist also had a lot to do with this clown craze. At the time of clown sightings in 1981, Coleman was heading up a social services office in Charlestown, Massachusetts. So really quite not that far.
Actually, I believe he has a master's in psychology or something. He has a background in like the stuff that you have. He actually has a book on school shootings. Did you know that?
No, I don't know if I want to read that though.
Okay. But like he talked about like
honestly, I probably would.
Yeah, it's like the psychology and stuff. Like if I'm not mistaken, I think it was in response to Columbine. Like he has a similar background to you actually.
Yeah. I'm not as cool though. I don't have a bunch of
I would love to meet him in person. I don't think we're important enough to ever get an interview.
Maybe one
with
day.
him.
Don't.
He's in his 70s, okay. That's why I want to go to Maine and see the museum and hopefully see him.
Yeah, let's plan it. So at the time, in 1981, he was aware of the clown sightings, and he actually was corresponding with a number of fellow cryptozoology enthusiasts, almost 400 of them, that were spread across the nation.
Oh, I was curious if you're going to name any of them, but that's too many.
After hearing about these clown sightings, he asked those networks, the network of correspondents, to send him any local newspaper clippings that referred to similar incidents from their area. He's quoted as saying, I started getting copies from Cleveland, from both, like, Kansas cities.
Cincinnati?
Yeah. Yeah?
What, the one that is...
The one that split.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Okay.
We've been there.
I know. My brain is tired. He says, I really started tracking that this was a nationwide phenomenon. So the information he received from what I call his glorified pen pals...
Glorified pen pals?
Yes.
Hey, they are brave cryptozoologists.
Yes.
Doing the Lord's work.
This allowed him to develop his theory of the phantom clown. Coleman says that phantom clowns are usually very specific. There's a clown, often seen in a van, with kids being approached and telling, and then they go tell adults, then the clowns are never caught. There's no arrests, no photographs, no evidence, and no abductions. The feedback revealed there had been similar reports in many local papers across the country. It says that was the mystery. How did people in different parts of the country have the same experience? There were no internet or wire stories or national stories about this phenomenon at the time. He wrote in about the sightings in the book Mysterious America. I do recommend reading that for more information. Frank is incredible and has a copy of that, so I was able to get.
I remember I got from like a used book place because they don't make new ones of it, so I'd highly recommend getting some of the old Lauren Coleman stuff when you get the chance.
Yeah. So while Coleman identified this as a nationwide phenomena, the sightings did seem to stop in Boston, but they were popping up in other parts of the country following the Boston scares. Children in Providence, Rhode Island reported scary clowns soon after the Boston clown scare, and by late May, children in Kansas and Missouri were reporting the same thing. Children were seeing the clowns in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania by June.
Ooh, yeah, Pittsburgh! Woo, Pennsylvania!
Yes. One of my sources wrote this, which I thought was kind of funny. Once again, Massachusetts was the cradle of innovation, since we brought America its first scary clown panic. I don't think tour guides of the Freedom Trail will be bragging about this one too much.
Brag about it. Own it.
Yes.
They barely own the Dover Demon. They gotta own this instead.
Yeah. Coleman attributes the increase in sightings across the nation to media, just different forms than what we have now. But media and its ability to spread information and panic. Parents would read about the clowns in newspapers, because again, there weren't iPhones or computers like we have now, or they would see it on the news on TV. They'd then mention the sightings to their children. The children would then start seeing the clowns around their town, and then that got reported back to the media. The cycle would continue until many reports popped up all over. Luckily, unlike the satanic panic that came a few years later in the 90s, no innocent people were arrested. So where do these phantom clowns come from? Well, in 1981, Boston officers answered that, and eventually settled on, quote, the minds of children as the culprits for these mysterious sightings.
Was it at all inspired by this?
Not that I recalled seeing, but the resurgence of it with its new one that came out in 2016 or so, 2017, that had a lot to do.
Sorry, I was looking at that real quick because the book came out in 1986 and the movie came out in 1990, the original.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. The creepy clown phenomena first appeared in 1981, but has happened several times since then. There were minor sightings from Phoenix in 1985, South Orange and Belleville, New Jersey in 1991, a similar story in Chicago from 91, with the Chicago Tribune writing, quote, "The reports, mainly from children, have varied. After several alleged sightings of a clown who drove a van, and his name was Homie."
Homie?
Homie. Yeah.
Homie!
Yeah.
Homie, it's your wife, Marge!
Yes, and...
Homie was once a clown. He was Krusty the Clown's doppelganger.
Krusty the Clown is reported in the top 10 scariest clowns.
Is he
when
really?
When you look up, like, the creepiest clowns.
Krusty the Clown is not scary. He's, like, the only still lighthearted clown.
He's creepy.
Okay.
The Tribune also writes, "They seem to be reaching near mythic proportions, tumbling out from different parts of the city, like clowns falling out of a Volkswagen." People were making some light of this.
Oh my god, wait. That just made me think of something from The Simpsons. Let me see if I can find the clip for you. It's when Homer decides to be a clown and go to clown college, he is at work and there's like a accident happening where people are running out and like they're burning and whatnot because there's an accident going on at the at what's it called, the plant, and he's just thinking of clowns instead, and instead he sees them all as running around dancing clowns. Oh, here it is, Sage.
Nice.
That's what I imagine. You can cut whatever you want from there.
There were reports of clowns in blackface luring children into woods in Fitchburg, Wisconsin in June of 2000. A clown in a white or brown van in Chicago's Wicker Park in October 2008. And a clown in a red SUV trolling Idaho Falls in April 2012. Sightings also crossed the pond, and in 2013, sightings of a creepy clown appeared in Northampton, England. Northampton clown sightings, which were in the town during September and October, were the work of 3 local filmmakers, though, so that one was debunked. Alex Powell, Elliot Simpson, and Luke Ubansky. The clown shared similar looks to Pennywise, the dancing clown from
What year were we in again?
This is 2013.
Okay.
The trio then, because it got such a craze in like the newspapers and stuff, started a Facebook page for the Northampton clown. And they were using the appearances of this clown to drive traffic to that page so that their film would get more views. In March 2014, Matteo Moroni from Perugia, I think is how you say that, owner of the YouTube channel DM Pranks, began dressing up as an evil clown and terrifying unsuspecting passerbys. His videos racked up hundreds of millions of views.
I know which one you're talking about because I've watched it.
Yeah. A rash of sightings appeared in California in October 2014, which centered upon the Waco Clown and primarily occurred in Waco, California area, with a few photos appearing on social media.
Did they find out who it was or no?
Nope. A segment called...
How you spell that? Wasco? W-A-S-C-O?
Yeah. A segment called Why Are Clowns Scary was part of the 2014 documentary Killer Legends. The filmmakers traveled to Chicago to explore the previous clown panics that swept the city in 1991 and again in 2008, which I mentioned a little earlier, linking them to serial killer John Wayne Gacy in the Stranger Danger panic. It was around this time in 2014 that some of the first clown sightings appeared in the U.S., including early sightings in Staten Island, New York. A film production company was blamed for a clown scare on Staten Island, where images of a terrifying clown carrying balloons and stalking neighborhoods after dark appeared on social media over a 2-week period. Mike Levy, a filmmaker with this production company, Fuzz on the Lens, which orchestrated the prank, told the Post that sickos in Ohio and Kentucky are recycling pictures of their clown on social media, claiming they are current sightings in those states. He says, "We don't know if we started this, but the spirit of what we were doing was to entertain. We were looking to put our production company on the map. This new wave of clowns or copycats are promoting violence. We don't condone weapons and people taking the extra step. It's very creepy."
Which clown are you talking about right now, real quick? The Waco one?
No.
Okay. Apparently, the people who originally did the Waco one had the same statement because it was a couple who were doing pictures.
Oh, no, this is a film production. But he said that clowns are definitely in.
Did you look at the Waco clown?
No, I didn't look at it. I tried to stay away from as many clowns as I could.
So you don't want to see it?
No.
Okay, the Waco one, from what I saw real quick because I wanted to look at it, creepy as fuck.
Yeah, don't show it.
And I guess they made a movie then about it, but there was a couple who were doing pictures independently, and then, you know, the stuff happened after, you know, not long after. But yeah, it was, the couple has been like talked to, but I don't think it's been announced who it was.
Yeah. A person in clown attire was spotted in a cemetery in Chicago in July 2015. This occurrence involved 2 residents who spotted the creepy clown scaling the gate at the Rose Hill Cemetery late at night. After the clown entered the cemetery, they turned to face the residents and began waving slowly as the residents recorded the video. After waving for a few seconds, the clown ran into a dark wooded area and was never seen again. Police investigation of the sightings did not lead to any arrests, and no one has any idea who this person was. So that's your creepy waving clown you were talking about earlier. And now, in our timeline, we reach 2016.
This is the one I remembered at the time.
Yeah, where clown sightings took a sinister turn and were different from some of the prior sightings. So, while the children who reported the sightings of phantom clowns merely indicated that these clowns were creepy, and there were some instances of the clowns trying to get kids into a van, the 2016 sightings changed the term from phantom clowns to stalking clowns. Stalking clowns are people who dress up, stand by the side of the road, and are often spotted near schools, and their main purpose is just simply to get a rise out of the public and those who see them. In early August 2016, Green Bay, Wisconsin police began to receive reports of clown sightings, including 5 photos of a creepy clown roving a vacant parking lot under a bridge in downtown Green Bay in the dark of night. A Facebook page was created shortly after, claiming that the clown was named Gags. In the days that followed, the pictures were discussed on numerous news outlets, including Fox News and USA Today. Suspicions of the character being related to a horror film were confirmed when a Wisconsin filmmaker announced the pictures were a marketing stunt for a then unreleased short film titled Gags. A feature film was then made on the short film, and that premiered in 2018.
I'll have to check that out, I think.
Yeah. In Greenville County, South Carolina, at the end of August 2016, and this is really where the actual craze of the clowns of 2016 started, reports began to come in of clowns that were attempting to lure children into the woods with money, or they were loitering around. Officials took the strange report seriously, but they were unable to uncover any real evidence or any suspicious people. The report stretched beyond children hearing noises and seeing people with clown face paint. One resident said she saw a clown with a blinking nose standing beside a dumpster at 2:30 a.m. Other children came forward claiming clowns attempted to lure them into the woods with money, and that the clowns, quote, live in a house by a pond deep in the woods. After hearing gunshots, police learned 2 residents fired in the direction of the wooded area where sightings had supposedly taken place. A week later, more reports have surfaced of clowns simply staring at Greenville residents near laundromats and again next to the woods. Creepy as shit.
Also, to do this in America,
yeah.
Crazy.
I know, you're looking to get shot. During these sightings, the clowns became more persistent and more daring. In 2016, a woman reported to the police that she was sitting with her 1-year-old daughter at a bus stop in Concord, California, when a man dressed as a clown came and sat next to them. She's quoted as saying, he was smiling at her, sitting there with us. And then he grabbed her hand. He said, aw, and he tried to pull. And I pulled back and I kicked the shit out of him. The clown ran, and there's no information after that on the suspect. He was never caught. So creepy. Tried to take a kid. Literally in broad daylight. Coleman, though, points out that some of the fear for Carolinians, not California, but Carolina, may be grounded in community memory. 60 or so years ago, the same area of North Carolina that was being stalked in 2016 by clowns dealt with an actual nightmare criminal. A man nicknamed the Paddler, who would dress up as a policeman, kidnap young boys, paddle them in the back of his car, and then let them go.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't quite understand the connection between dressing up as a policeman, clowns. Could just be the general fear. But after serving 10 years of jail time, he went straight back to his old habits and ended up killing 2 teenagers.
What the fuck?
Yep. So, following the report of the child that was almost taken, 2 women in Michigan were arrested for disorderly conduct after dressing as clowns and tracing teens. The day after that, a 14-year-old girl was arrested for calling in a threat to a Washington, D.C. area middle school, reporting that clowns were going to come to the school with weapons and kill the students.
What? You're 14 years old. How dumb are you?
I know. Also, I'm about to talk about Florida, and when I typed it, I must have typed it wrong because it autocorrected to fluoride.
That damn state of fluoride.
Yeah. So Florida, being the interesting state that it is, had a multitude of sightings be reported as well. A video of a clown lurking in the brush along a dirt road was taken by a person named Caden Parmalee in Marion County, Florida. The car that they were driving was paused to film a person with white, sinister face paint, but the video cuts out as the clown begins to move, and someone in the car is cut off saying, "Let's get the hell out of," whatever. can assume the final word would be here, based on, the comment to police that he wasn't looking to die that day. Another Florida resident, Kelly Reynolds of Palm Bay, took up running the last weekend, the one prior to that sighting, when she saw 2 clowns while she was walking her dog. Reynolds reported to Florida Today, "I never run, but I turned back and ran to my home as fast as I could." Florida, a hotbed for weird shit, also had reports of creepy clown sightings in Pensacola and Gainesville. So, lots of different things. And there's still more. Machete-wielding clown tried to lure a woman into a wooded area in Forsyth County. Winston-Salem increased police presence in certain areas after 2 children claimed they were offered candy by a clown if they'd follow it into the woods. In both Henrico and Augusta counties, parents and their children reported clowns, quote, leering at them from cars or on the edge of the forest. While the Augusta clown may still be wandering the forest, a local woman, Holly Brown, reported that the creepy clown was, in fact, her son Angus, a 12-year-old with autism, who donned his Halloween costume a month early. She stated her son was simply excited about the holiday and he meant no harm, but given the clown hysteria, he was told to only wear the costume on October 31st.
Aw.
I know.
That was a real innocent one.
That was an innocent one.
The only innocent one?
Pretty much. The frenzy has led to dozens of arrests nationally, including one in Arkansas on October 5th of 2016, when police arrested an 18-year-old man dressed as a clown for terrorizing people with a horn and taunting them. One woman reported that this clown charged at her and her children, though the suspect said he did not intend any harm. I don't agree.
I mean, he might have done it completely as a joke to fuck with them and didn't intend to harm them, but, they don't know that.
Yeah.
A crazy clown comes at you, you expect the worst, but in your mind, you're just it's that defense and the joke. It's just a prank, bro.
Yep.
If your prank is supposed to scare people, you shouldn't be doing it. It's like there have been people who shot doing YouTube pranks.
Yeah. John Miller, the NYPD's terror chief, assured New Yorkers during this time that there was no reason to fear clowns that were being reported because the threats were not credible. However, the NYPD admitted a few days later that it was on the lookout for what they called a psycho bozo who threatened a killer clown attack the Friday of that week at a few Queens schools, IS-73 and Maspeth High School.
A what they call? What bozo?
A psycho bozo.
A psycho bozo.
Yeah.
Psycho bozo.
Yes, because Bozo the Clown. But more than 24 states reported clown sightings during these few months in the fall of 2016. While many were hoaxes, a handful of the incidents did result in arrests again. In Alabama, at least 7 people faced felony charges of making a terroristic threat connected to clown-related activities. In early October 2016, further incidents were reported in Canada, and the first occurrences in the United Kingdom and Australia were reported as well. Authorities in the UK issued a warning about clowns being menacing towards people. There have been 6 reports of people dressed like clowns threatening people in Britain, sometimes carrying a knife and following their targets. British communities were described as horrified, and pressure had been placed on police resources, and a lot of them actually took clown costumes off the shelves for Halloween. During Halloween in 2016, as Americans do, some Floridians decided to go trick-or-treating armed in an effort to feel protected in the case that weird clowns decided to come out for the kids. By October 25th, 2016, several news outlets reported on an alleged clown-initiated, quote, purge or attack, which supposedly was to take place on Halloween Eve of 2016. While there were no widespread purges, as threatened, a family from Florida was attacked on October 31st, 2016, by a group of approximately 20 people in clown masks, though many of them were styled after the Purge movie masks. No arrests were made at that time, so that was really only the attack they heard about. But this is actually mostly in regards, though, to other people going and attacking the clowns. So around that time, hundreds of students at our beloved but shitty football team of Penn State University
firing Franklin.
Yes, swarmed surrounding campus streets to carry out a mass clown hunt. Same time, students at Michigan State University followed Penn State, and they were involved in mobs that searched for clowns on campus after there were reported sightings.
I remember seeing the videos from Penn State of thousands of people running around looking for clowns.
I should have asked my brother how it went, because he was there at that time.
I think people just wanted to do shit.
Especially Penn State main campus.
Yeah, there was no clown threat there. They just wanted a reason to run around.
They take any reason they can to run around in the streets and do whatever they want.
And destroy whatever they want.
Yep.
Well, you know what? They don't have They might have reason to destroy shit this year if the football team does well. If they do well and actually win, then they have a reason to destroy shit. I wonder how doing this bad this season will affect them.
Yeah. Rumors of clown attacks floated around on campgrounds. A Connecticut school district banned clown costumes and what they considered any symbols of terror related to them. And an armed clown hoax temporarily put a Massachusetts college on lockdown during this time. The issue even made its way all the way to the White House, where Press Secretary Josh Ernst was asked about the phenomenon. He was quoted as saying, "I don't know that the president has been briefed on this particular situation. Obviously, this is a situation that local law enforcement authorities take quite seriously." Obama would have been president at that time, so...
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. According to the New York Times, the clown sightings resulted in at least 12 arrests, again, across the United States. It also resulted in a death. So in Pennsylvania does it again. In Reading, Pennsylvania, a 16-year-old boy was fatally stabbed during an incident that could have been provoked by a prowler wearing a clown mask. The charges related to the sightings included making false reports, threats, and chasing people. Also in Pennsylvania, in Pottsville, a similar part of the state, there were reports of two people wearing clown-like clothes driving around in a pickup truck, scaring teens and children. In Ebensburg, Pennsylvania, a woman caught a peeping Tom clown peering through her window. York College sent a safety alert out to the campus as a reaction deemed necessary after receiving 8 different clown reports since September 24th of that year.
In York.
Yep, in York. York College.
Oh, yeah. Close to us.
Yeah. Really, nothing ended up becoming of these sightings in terms of them being definitively linked to something specific. There were certainly theories and some very plausible connections, but it isn't like there's some big reason, that connected all these sightings at the time. But this is a point where, Frank, before I get into some things that could be attributed to this, I wanted to know what your experience was like in 2016. I very vaguely remember this, but as you know, I had a lot going on in my life in that year. And this was not at the forefront of my mind. What was it like for you?
So it was a lot of just following along, being creeped out with it. I kind of wanted to see something happen. It was a nice distraction for the shittiness of everything else going on.
Yeah.
But I was so curious to see if something would happen. Because I liked the creepiness. I liked horror and that type of stuff for a while.
Yeah. Do you remember any particular sightings that you saw on the internet or anything?
I just remember the popular pictures of them and reports, but there's so many of them. And so many of them, there's so many copycat hoaxes at this point that it's hard to tell what's true and what's not.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I think there are people in high school who are like, oh, there's a killer clown here in the local area. And it's I doubted every single one.
I didn't have even the time to care that there would have been a killer clown in the area. So next we're going to talk about some things that could be attributed kind of to the start of this. So Coleman's phantom clown theory is rooted in the primal dread that so many children experience in a clown's presence. A few of these things can come from things like poltergeist, in which a sinister clown doll lives underneath the bed and does give off some of the same uncanny valley vibes that clowns do. At the time, Stephen King doubled down and increased the public's fear of clowns via his 1987 novel It, featuring Pennywise the clown, and it then was made into its horrifying film in 1990. This story follows the exploits of 7 children who were terrorized by an evil being that's in the form of a clown. This was remade in 2017 and had been getting a lot of hype prior to that. So one hypothesis for the wave of the 2016 clown sightings was a viral marketing campaign for Andy Muschietti's 2017 It film. A spokesperson for New Line Cinema, this is the film's distributor, released a statement claiming that, quote, New Line is absolutely not involved in the rash of clown sightings. However, though, Stephen King came out and stated that people should react less hysterically to the sightings and not take his work seriously, which, if you ask me, was not helpful. Not helpful to the situation.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
No. Coleman also notes that creepy clowns, or phantom clowns as he calls them, tend to show up in election years. This phenomenon gets worse when news is bad, which tend to correspond with the phantom clown surges. 2008 in Chicago, 2016. I don't remember if there were any in 2020. Who knows? I don't remember if there were any last year either, but I guess it's...
I don't remember clown sightings then.
Probably very coincidental, essentially. But The media, he says, the media concentrates on campaigning so much, if any incidental story comes along, it becomes wall-to-wall news, almost as if they need a distraction from the ugliness of politics. In this case, he thinks one specific candidate had newsmakers looking for anything else to write about, stating, quote, Trump is the real clown. Trump's campaign did not respond to any requests for comments on Coleman's response, which I just thought was funny.
You know, Lauren Coleman spitting fire.
Oh, he is. Trump is the real clown. Much of this is definitely conjecture, though, but the predictions that come out of it are probably worth heeding. Coleman also says, I do expect that if it keeps being talked about in the media, you're going to see clowns jumping up in other states, California, Wisconsin, other places. I'm not sure if these predictions came true or not following these statements, but we do know, obviously, that there were sightings in both of those states. But I do want to point out that I thought this was hilarious. It got nicknamed the Clowndemonium.
2016.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that. Okay.
I saw it in like 4 different sources.
Clowndemonium. Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
So is that all the clown sightings then?
Yeah, I have a brief kind of impact of these sightings, but we can what do you want to talk about before we get there?
I want to go into brief impact and then our thoughts. I don't know how much else you have to say.
Unfortunately, adults and children who were scared by the creepy clown epidemic were not the only ones impacted by this craze. According to the self-styled creepy clown, Bloody Elmore the Clown, who was who in 2016 stated, "People think they're killers and criminals, but most of us like the feeling of having a community, and most of us just like the fun and excitement of it. People usually freak out and try to follow us, even though it's something fun and it becomes a hobby on a daily basis." So he's saying, these sightings are making it worse for people who dress up for fun as clowns. Jordan Jones, who works part-time portraying Snuggles the Clown in a haunted house at Screamland Farms in Maryland, stated, "I fear for my life. At the end of the day, people look at me like I'm a clown trying to hurt them. I feel that people are out clown hunting because they think it's cool now. I'm scared that someone might take a swing." The then 22-year-old was from Pennsylvania and stated he was afraid of what he saw on the news, like the clown hunting at Penn State, as that was close to home. Also, what was happening in Reading and Pottsville.
We are.
Yeah. Jones traveled from his house in Pennsylvania to Screamland Farms every weekend, and he said he was well known as Snuggles the Clown in his neighborhood, but he was concerned how other people outside of his community would react to him because they didn't know that he was a harmless clown, just on his way to. But he was creepy because he was going to a haunted house. The World Clown Association president Randy Christensen took a stance against the trend of people dressing up as clowns to frighten people. Circuses and other clown-related businesses were also affected. Lots of them lost money. A lot of people stopped going to circuses, things like that. In October 2016, McDonald's decided that Ronald McDonald would keep a lower profile as a result of the incidents as well.
And he has since then kept a very low profile.
I was going to say, I haven't seen there's no commercials and stuff about him anymore.
They basically have wiped Ronald McDonald clean from.
Yeah, and honestly, they stopped keeping up after the Ronald McDonald houses, like the statues that are outside the Ronald McDonald houses. They stopped keeping up with them, I think, in an effort to not keep bringing.
Yeah, which it's weird because you and I grew up in a time of Ronald McDonald in our childhood.
Yeah.
And as soon as you and I hit adulthood is when they phased out Ronald McDonald. We were the last true generation to have a Ronald McDonald childhood. Start to finish.
Yeah. Several New Zealand shops withdrew clown costumes from their shelves, as well as some places in Sweden. In the United States, school districts in California, New Jersey, Ohio issued a blanket ban on all clown costumes and clown masks, in addition to previously existing policies and restrictions that their schools had. Because, you can't dress up as anything you want to go to a school parade or whatever. Target pulled clown masks from their website and stores as a result of the scare, as did Canadian Tire, but I don't really know how clowns are involved with Canadian Tire.
They're involved with women's hockey and men's hockey, I know that, but I don't know about clowns. Unless we count the Florida Panthers.
True. That's funny. The village of Memramcook, New Brunswick, asked residents not to dress up as clowns on Halloween. Employees of theme parks, places like Hershey, Disney, things like that, your really big theme parks, were instructed to remove any horror costumes and makeup before they left work. So there was no longer like you could go to your job, get ready, whatever, and then wear it home and get a shower at home. You had to remove everything before you left, for fear that if you were seen out in public following,
you'd be possibly shot and killed.
Yeah, you'd be part of the sightings.
Jeez.
So
this is America.
This is America. So the thing I want to end on here before we get to our own thoughts is a quote from a sociologist in 2016. I don't know what sociologist. This was just written in one source. I couldn't figure out who the sociologist is. So if it's you, thanks for your quote. But it says, 2016 was a bad time to be a professional clown.
Wow, what a quote. Oh my, you know what? That's quote of the year.
That is quote of the year, but I figured that would be a funny way to end it. So that was my last sentence. But that's, like, what are your thoughts?
The uncanny valley thing is just fascinating because beyond clowns, it makes me think of all the other things that fit the uncanny valley.
Mannequins are so freaky.
Oh my God, I remember a long time ago, creepypasta, you know what those are, right? Like online scary stories of like mannequins slowly becoming sentient and taking over the world, and that one just creeps me out on how it happened. And like, it's just, it makes me think of those things.
Well, I think like aliens are a part of that too. Like,
that's
the
what
way
I was
they describe aliens is
how they're like kind of human, but humanoid but not. Yeah. And that's why stuff like the McPherson's tape is odd and, you know, disturbing. I mean, recently I watched a movie you can find on YouTube called There Are Monsters, and it's all about doppelgangers, and it's creepy as fuck.
I can't handle, because Fresh Pedestrians will basically doppelganger as well, and like that kind of stuff is absolutely insane. What's the book that you read that's becoming a movie?
We Used to Live Here.
Yeah, that's about doppelgangers, right?
Oh man, well, kind of. Yeah, it's hard to explain. And that book is one that has this whole subreddit trying to analyze it, because the author mentioned there's a bunch of hints, clues, codes hidden throughout the entire book. And you really have to read it many times to understand it all. And it's so odd. Like, the idea of being replaced, doppelgangers, I have like goosebumps now talking about it.
Yeah, or like Coraline. The reason, like, I hate Coraline. The movie scares the living shit out of me because they are humanoid. Obviously, they speak, whatever, but they don't have all the features of a human being.
And I know you don't like the movie because we watched the Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
That one's creepy. And then there's, to a little bit of a lesser extent, The Thing, where it's like somebody is the thing. Yeah. But whenever they're revealed they become not even close to humanoid anymore, so you lose the humanoidness of it.
Yeah.
But it's somebody isn't human, and they are among us. Among us? Bum, 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 bum. Ba-da-dun.
We went different directions, because you said, like, Among Us.
Among Us.
I went, like, isn't that a quote from some kind of alien movie?
What?
They're Among Us?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a famous phrase. They live among us, or they are among us, or...
Well, They Live is one, because that's a different movie. Is not as Uncanny Valley. I just thought one.
There's a show called Uncanny Valley, right?
Maybe. What was the other one I was going to mention? Oh, Men in Black is one. Like not the movie, I'm talking about the phenomenon. Because do you know much about the Men in Black phenomenon?
I know a little bit.
Do you never notice how, like, when people look close to them, like these Men in Black, a lot of times are reported they don't have lips, they don't have facial hair, like eyebrows and whatnot. They have sunglasses on, and the eyes beyond the sunglasses, if you can get a peek, are not human eyes.
Yeah, isn't that
and the skin is very pale.
The black-eyed children.
That's a different thing. BEK, black-eyed kids.
Yeah,
Uncanny Valley. There
is an Argentinian short film
called Uncanny Valley.
It's 9 minutes long.
I think
there's bunches of them.
I think we're kind of rambling on here about this, but we've gone a bit past the clowns here. But the clown phenomenon, I find it creepy. It's wholly, in my opinion, from what you've described in 1981 and all the others, it's human made. It's all people. I don't think there's much paranormal behind this.
No.
But it's people who are trying to create a stir, and they're intentionally or unintentionally preying upon one of the greatest fears, not necessarily chlorophobia.
Colrophobia.
Colrophobia.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Fear of the uncanny valley is what they're more preying upon, which is the uncanny valley. That's not an actual psychology thing yet, is it?
Not that I have ever seen.
I could see it being one, though, eventually. I think it's something that...
Well, I think it falls under phobia, like specific phobia in the DSM.
Yeah, but
or at least
because they
social phobia.
Every couple decades they update the DSM, right?
We should be getting a new version of the DSM here in a couple years because they're taking some stuff out, and I think they're putting complex PTSD in it, CPTSD.
Do you think stuff like this would be mentioned, like the other type of, like thinking of the others, the almost human? Possibly not, but I don't know.
I don't know that it would be mentioned in the DSM specifically, but I certainly think that there's a lot of research on the uncanny valley effect. Like, psychologists are researching it, but I think it just falls more under a anxiety phobia level of the DSM, to which I don't think it would be considered its own mental health disorder, because it's not a mental health disorder.
Yeah, it's not a disorder, but it's a fear.
Yeah, it's a type of fear.
But just I think the people who are studying it, I think that's cool because it's I feel like a unique type of fear.
Oh, I heard of it. I've heard that term colloquially, but I had no idea what it was. So that's why I found it so fascinating and why I had so much information on it. Because it was I didn't know what that was, and that's so interesting.
And I'll watch that video on YouTube and see if it's worth you watching it, and maybe our listeners watching it. But I want to know the evolutionary theories behind it.
Yeah, anything that has to do with evolutionary psychology is a huge thing for me. So I believe a lot in generational traumas and things like that. I believe that things we dream about and stuff that are way out this world are evolutionary ways of our body learning how to survive situations we don't think we would encounter in the world. And I think that this falls a lot into that.
So with that being all said, are we ready to start wrapping this up then?
That is all I got.
To everybody listening right now, thank you for staying so long right now.
Yeah, I hope people enjoyed hearing the psychology behind it. I know it was interesting for me, obviously.
I enjoyed it. I mean, you heard how much I just talked about it there at the very end. Yeah. This was a really fascinating one, Sage, and I think you picked a really good topic to talk about.
Thank you. I know it's a little different than what, we usually do or Spooky Month, but it definitely falls under the unknown unsolved unseen, I would say.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
So, all right. Do you want me to sign us out here, or do you have any other final things you have to say or ask me?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate you staying this long into the episode. This is definitely a bit different one, but I think personally, quality-wise, is one of our better episodes.
Oh, thank you.
This one had me hooked.
Well, I think it's because I love psychology.
Yeah, and I like the creepy stuff like this.
Yeah, and when there's psychology, I'm gonna go hardcore into it, so it's gonna be better.
So, that being said, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, hit us with a follow, a rate, review, subscribe, whatever it is, on whatever whatever you're on. If you're on Spotify, you can comment and let us know your opinions. I see we can get those Spotify followers. If you could give us a nice rate as well, helps us out, boosts us in the algorithm. Share with your friends, family, coworkers. That guy you might have met on the street one day and said hi to by accident, thinking he looked like one of your friends, but he actually wasn't one of your friends.
We're becoming a pyramid scheme like Two Girls, One Ghost.
Yeah. So, go share it. Go check us out on our socials, our TikTok, which I have not linked on here yet and probably won't tonight because this is a bit later recording. Our Instagram, which we do use, and the Blue Sky, which I don't really touch, but I'm trying to use the TikTok and the Instagram more.
Yeah.
And I think that is about it for today. So, you know what? You guys got to keep it spooky out there. So,
yeah.
Let's get a little sign off here. And remember
to look for
the unknown,
the unsolved,
and the unseen.
Thanks for listening.
And the spooky.
And
bye, guys.
Spooky season.
Ooh, spooky.